Hi everyone, my name is Veronica Manuel and I'm with FREQS. Today I'm going to show you how to hyperopt the strategy that you created for your algorithmic crypto trading bot using the open source project Freqtrade on GitHub. Hyperopting is the process of using a machine learning library to optimize your strategy. And the way it works is it inserts random numbers into the parameters of your strategy and then tries to minimize the losses of a loss function that you define in your hyperopt command. We're going to first backtest our strategy over a period of time, quickly plot that performance, and then hyperopt our strategy using one command. We're going to begin by opening up our IDE of choice and navigating to config.json that was created when we created our bot. And down at pair lists, by default, you should see volume pair list and number of assets is equal to 20. So in order to backtest, we need a static pair list. And the reason for this is the volume pair list is changing moment by moment historically. So we don't store that data or Freqtrade doesn't store that data. So we need a static pair list in order to observe the performance of our bot over time in the past. So the first thing I'm going to do is change this to static pair list. And then I'm going to paste here the 3 pairs that I want to observe in the past. So this is totally arbitrary. You may find that there are more pairs that are profitable for you and less profitable, for example, as well. These are just very popular coin pairs, so that's what I'm going to use for this example. And the number of assets we have to change to 3. Now, we have to change it to 3 because if we leave it at 20, it's going to search for the top 17 other pairs by volume, and that won't work. So we need the number of assets to match what's in the pair whitelist. So moving on, we're going to continue to reload our config if you have Telegram open and your bot is running. Otherwise, if your bot is down, like my bot is, we need to spin it up using docker-compose up-d, and that's going to start our bot. Pretty soon you'll see in my Telegram some activity showing that the bot is started. Awesome. And you can see that it's using now the static pair list. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is download the data, and I created a text file for the commands that we're going to use in this video. So we're going to go ahead and download the data for the pairs that we are going to observe in our back testing. But before we do that, I want to make a quick note here. So here I wrote as a note, whenever you see Freqtrade as the beginning of a command in the freqtrade.io docs, it's implied that you prepend that command with docker-compose run --rm. And so whenever you're following the docs, I just want you to understand that it's not just the Freqtrade command, that's shorthand notation. Don't forget to write docker-compose run --rm before that, and we'll be using that throughout this video. Okay, so after we reloaded our config, we are going to download the pairs of data. This command, I'll go ahead and type it out so it's a little bit slower, but please feel free to pause this video and take a screenshot of the commands down here that we'll be using. So I'm going to download the pairs using docker compose run --rm freqtrade download -data. And the exchange, again, that I'm going to be using is FTX, and the time frame of the candles is 15 minutes. The time range, for this backtesting example, I want to show you how to use a custom time range. So I'm going to backtest from a year ago today. So that's 2021 07, should be 29, but I'll just leave it as 28 yesterday. Okay, and then the hyphen at the end there symbolizes that we're testing from that date until the present moment. So it's going to backtest from a year ago all the way to the present time. So I can go ahead and press enter now, and you'll see in the File Explorer, once this is complete, that we're going to have the 3 pairs data downloaded in JSON file format under the data subdirectory. and there they are. Okay, so this is what we're going to use in our backtesting. So now I can write the next command, docker-compose run --rm Freqtrade backtesting. Okay, the data directory that I'm going to be using is user_data /data/FTX. And we're going to export trades. And the stake amount that I am going to use is $10,000. And this is less than what's in my dry run wallet. I just want to see how this strategy performs with less than what's in my dry run wallet, which is 20,000. You could put the full 20,000 if you would like. With a stake amount that is less, I hope to see a little more fluctuation, essentially around a midline from what is in my dry run wallet. So you could do up to the amount that's in your dry run wallet. Again, I'm showing you some ways to customize your commands here. Okay, so then the strategy that I'm going to use is the combined strategy that we created in the previous video. And this is the class name of the strategy. The time frame of the candles, note that this is -I, is 15 minutes, and the time range is going to be equal to 2021-07-28 hyphen. So that ending hyphen or dash, if you will, is the important part to show the from 2021-07-28 until the present moment. So it's like saying until. Okay, so now that we're running this, what we expect to see is a tabular format of the backtesting data. And we're going to take a look at that and watch our worst performing pairs and our best performing pairs. So you can see up here, we've got some win to loss ratios, win to loss. We have ROI, win to loss is perfect, but then our exit signals are heavy on the losses, and we had a lot of trades also exited because they reached our stop loss. So you can find a lot of information here. And at the bottom, a nice summary of our backtesting data that I will focus on here. So you can see the time frame, the time range that we are backtesting over is 1 year and up to the current time. And if we scroll down, the total profit is negative 19.23%. Our best performer is Sol to USD. Our worst performer is Bitcoin at negative 72.89%. So that's really bringing us down for our total profit percentage. Of course, ETH must be keeping us propped up a little bit more because 22 minus 72 is a lot larger than negative 19%. So that's like negative 50%. Okay, math. Okay, now we can plot. So if you don't have hvplot installed, go ahead and pip install hvplot. We are going to generate an hvplot in an HTML file to check out this performance of our backtesting of our strategy. So go ahead, pip install hvplot. Now I'm going to navigate to our docker-compose.yml file. And at the top here, uncommented by default is this stable image. So we're going to comment that out. And we are going to uncomment the image ending in develop_plot. So that's under use plotting image. And we are going to use the image freqtrade.org/freqtrade:develop_plot. Okay, whenever we modify our docker-compose.yml file, we need to bring down our bot and bring it back up again. So following the notes here, we are going to run docker-compose down. And this takes about 10 seconds on my computer. Okay, and docker-compose up-d. Okay, awesome. So our bot is back up and running. You'll see its restart here on Telegram. Great. So now that that's run, we can plot our data frame using the command docker-compose run run --rm Freqtrade plot data frame. And the strategy again is combined strategy. And -p is going to be our best pair. We don't need to write it in quotes. So that's sold USD. And then the interval, the time frame of the candles is 15-minute candles that we are going to plot over the course of a year. So because I am using a year's worth of data, it's going to run a bit slower than observing just 30 days. So by default, these commands, the downloading of the pairs, the back testing, the plotting, use 30 days of data. Sorry, not the plotting, the downloading of the pairs and the back testing run 30 days by default. Okay, so let's navigate to our File Explorer, and we can see in the plot subdirectory now an HTML file that was created. So this HTML file we are going to open up in our browser of choice. And again, this will take a little while to load up here because there is a lot of data. So very congested with the data because there is a lot for the last year. You can see the volume, MACD, and RSI are down here. We have by default zoom is selected out of the options in the top right corner. So I can go ahead and drag a rectangle over the data and it will zoom in. Let's zoom in a little farther. Okay, now you can see our Bollinger Bands in light blue. Let's point out here the aqua blue circles are trade buys according to the legend here. The green squares are selling at a profit. The red squares are unfortunately selling at a loss. And because we are plotting our best pair, this is going to look more optimistic than plotting other data. So let's go ahead and close this. And the last thing we are going to do is Hyperopt. And I told you that this would just be one command. So I'm super excited to show you this. Okay, Freqtrade and then Hyperopt. Okay, so we are going to enable protections on our Hyperopt. And the reason for that is that's going to save us money. It's going to prevent us from losing more money. The protections do make the Hyperopt process run a lot slower, but they're so worth it because they give you more features than you otherwise would have to prevent losses. So we're going to enable protections and then again use the strategy, combined strategy. And the Hyperopt loss function that we're going to define is sharp Hyperopt loss. Now, reading through some forums, the sharp and Sortino Hyperopt loss functions seem to be very good. There are other loss functions that you can find in the Freqtrade.io docs, and I definitely recommend trying some of those out as you play around with hyperopting with different coin pairs, different loss functions to see what yields the most profitable result, right? So and then again, we are going to use 15-minute candles. Okay, -E is the number of epochs that we are going to run in this machine learning. I want to emphasize that epochs are the number of iterations that your machine learning goes through to test out different numbers to be able to minimize losses defined from your loss function. The more epochs, the better, and you can minimize your losses with more epochs. So I recommend 5,000 epochs or more. I'm going to show you the result of 1,000 epochs. The command that I listed below has 10 epochs. Let's do even more. Our 1,000 epochs are finally done for our Hyperopt. let's take a look at those results. So in our average profit column, you can see our average profit for every trade is slightly negative, even as the Hyperopts get better and better. So the best average profit is negative 0.07%. We have a total profit of negative 19.85% over the course of 1 year. Now this is our best Hyperopt. This means we minimize losses using the sharp Hyperopt loss function the best out of 1,000 epochs. If we kept doing this for 5,000, maybe 6,000 epochs, perhaps it would have turned positive, in which case if you have any results that turn positive, then you'll see them color-coded in green. Now, if we scroll down, you'll see some JSON formatted output here. So these are the hyperspace parameters for RSI. So what it's saying is, even though in our strategy we removed the RSI entry and exit trend, it's saying that actually we would minimize our losses if we did use RSI indicators. So we would buy when the RSI crosses above 33 and sell when the RSI reaches 82. Furthermore, our minimal ROI that we want to achieve after a certain number of minutes is different numbers for our minimal ROI. We've got 21%, 11.8%, 5.9%, for example. And our stop loss is negative 34%. So let's go ahead and open our File Explorer and take a look at the JSON file here. So in our strategies folder, the same file name as our strategy appears, but it is a JSON file right next to it. And then the class name of the strategy is at the top. And you can see those indicators values appearing in the JSON file. Now, you don't have to hard code these indicator values in your strategy.py file. Just having the JSON in there is enough for when you run your strategy for Freqtrade to automatically use your JSON file in combination with your PY file. So that's how you Hyperopt. I hope you enjoyed this video, and hit the like button if you enjoyed what you saw, and subscribe to this channel for more videos.